Hello and welcome to the Nantian 2030 campaign workshop for April. My name's Tom. I'll be doing the MC type job for today. And let's acknowledge country. We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. Pay respects to their elders past, present and emerging. And as a note, let's continue to learn from the Indigenous ways of living. So for instance, I've just been reading The Dreaming Path by Paul Callaghan. So it's been, as always, most illuminating to find out about some aspects of how the culture is set up and works for Indigenous people in Australia. And it's so relevant to the things that we can learn to apply to our situation now in these times of the modern crisis, where we've faced with a lot of devastation caused by human action, and we're feeling a lot of distress, and at the same time Indigenous ways of living can give us an inspiration for how to transition to ways to keep the planet livable. What a good idea. And just to kick off a bit of interaction, perhaps you'd like to put one sentence in the chat about your vision for the future that you would like to see created. What would it look like? With a spiritual and environmental community of practice that we can put into action. So just please type that vision into the chat. And this year for the Nantian 2030 campaign, which is part of the spiritual and environmental preservation practice, we have a theme of the journey to the Symbiocene. Symbiocene is a place where we live with mutual benefit with the planet, live in symbiosis. This is not such a foreign concept because we live in mutual benefit in society all the time, but we need to lift our game and do a much, much better job of that in looking after each other and the planet. This is a plan to save us. The Nantian 2030 campaign is a spiritual and environmental community of practice. Spiritual means the spiritual that you bring with you, which may be ethics and values. And we are in a community space, so let's remember to listen respectfully with acceptance for other views and experiences. Let's be mindful. Let's make the spiritual a first port of call as we be together today and in our daily life. Seeing others, seeing ourselves, being mindful of our reactions and choosing our response from the spiritual that you bring with you. So while another person is talking, for instance, give them your full attention and appreciation. So our format today will be a short check-in led by Venerable Miao Yo, who's from Nantian Temple. And then Moran and Karen will lead us, facilitate us through the workshop experiences, which is going to be very interesting. It's a little bit innovative in a sense, usually not done on Zoom, but here we are, we're giving it a go. And so we'll go with the flow as that unfolds. The theme for this particular workshop was around healed and energized through expression. And as we do the workshops, we'll see how that comes about. At the end, we'll have a plenary discussion and then a closing at around about 3:30. So Moran's section, there will be breakout rooms as she guides us through, and it's an opportunity to participate. So action learning is the name of the game. some things about social presence in theatre, for instance, I was a bit shy to do that at the start, getting up and moving my body. So please be brave and just give it a go. And so now let's hand over to Reverend Yo, and she'll lead us in a meditation.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us once again. So before we start, I think it's a good idea to just check in ourselves and just let everything drop away and feeling the presence within oneself. So let's start with a deep breath. Breathing in and slowly breathing out and relaxing. So wherever you come from, let's take a moment here to just checking in within yourself by breathing in and out and observing our breath. The more relaxed we are, the mind will be calm and stable, and the more we can absorb, especially when we're doing anything creative or when we're doing anything for the first time, we can learn better if we are more relaxed. So just take a few breaths in and observing our breath. Is it long or is it short? There's no need to force your breath, but just noticing, observing one breath at a time. Breathing in, we know that we are breathing in. Breathing out, we know that we are breathing out. When thoughts arise in your mind, that's okay. Just watching your thoughts. By watching your thoughts, you're not engaging in it. You just watch it like a picture. After 20 seconds or so, it will pass. And then another thought may come. And you watch it again. Breathe in, breathe out. Relax. And as we relax, we will become more calm and more peaceful. And we can then tap onto our creative mind. So when we are ready, we'll all come back together. And we can engage in this activity of creation, nurturing, and healing. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Coming back together, connecting, listening, and attending to one another in a mutually respectful and friendly manner. So when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Rub our palms together. Massage your temple, base. Once again, I'd like to welcome our presenters, Moran Weisel and Karen Valentis. So Moran offers Earth Connection and collective healing workshops, harp and flute therapeutic sound baths, and is a spoken word performer, creative writer. They are compassionate about the potential of creative musical embodiment in re-envisioning how we connect with each other and in entangling our relationship with Earth. Moran loves to create collective intentional spaces in which to allow whatever to be, to be. Karen Valentis is an arts therapist and eco-arts therapist. She's a member of the Australian and New Zealand Art and Creative Arts Therapies Association. As an arts therapist and ecotherapist, she has worked in mental health for over 5 years and also works in community-based programs for dementia, aged care, mental health, and young people at risk. She facilitates online studies in ecotherapy and is a co-writer of the book Nature Heals, an introduction to nature-based therapies in Australia and New Zealand. So we welcome our presenters. Thank you.
What a beautiful welcome and introduction. And I just feel after that checking and grounding, I'm all, I just want to melt now. So I think that's okay. We can be melty. So yeah, I'm Moran, and I'll be kind of facilitating the next maybe 40 minutes of the session, and then Kieran will take over her part in a bit. And this is going to be an opportunity to tune into our bodies through movement and sensing into how our bodies want to move, and also a way of coming to understand. So the theme of this whole series is the symbiosis theme. What does it mean to work in partnership, basically, with the complete interdimensional multi-species creation that is this planet? And I'm really curious in exploring how our kind of more playful and creative selves can access the wisdom of hearing what the world is saying to us. And so this workshop is just an exploration for that. So for some of you, I could imagine it might be something totally wacky, a bit bizarre, and there might be a sense of, oh, I'm not sure about this. I invite you to just honor that, acknowledge that, and totally welcome it in. Like that's totally part of the journey of listening. And then I invite you to take one step beyond your comfort zone. So kind of acknowledge where you feel your boundary is, and just see if you can just take a step beyond that a little bit. And for some of you, what I'm going to invite might seem totally like you do this every day, and that's great also. So So I just like to, oh yeah, and so we did kind of maybe put out in the email an invitation to bring along to this workshop a being from that outside or natural world that you connect with. I invite you, if you have that being around you, just to sort of check in with it at the moment. I've got some ferns and big fern fronds and things like this. If you don't have that, something like this, that's totally fine. If you're near a window, you can look out a window, see if you can find a tree. Beautiful. We have some sticks and all this. If there's nothing around you that feels like it will work, you're totally welcome to use your imagination to place a tree that you're really connected with and you really love. The thing I would just ask is it's something that you can get, really well. So, because I'm going to invite us to explore it in a lot of different ways. And I'd like to now begin with the sense of gratitude. And so there's a sentence of, today I'm grateful to Earth for, or it could be, today I'm grateful to my being for. And since we're not a large group, I'd invite us, if you feel comfortable, to just unmute, and it's just that sentence. We don't need to say anything else, just to keep it nice and short and sharp. How will we work this? I think just unmute when you want, but please jump in so that we can keep this moving. I don't want to call out people's names because that feels weird. And I might go first. So I'm going to say, today I'm grateful to the earth for raining and nourishing the soil.
Today, I'm grateful for being in amongst a community of people.
Today, I'm grateful to Earth for giving me nourishing oxygen to breathe.
Today, I'm grateful to Earth for the sun, the moon, the air, the water, the sea, the earth, the land, animals, everything.
Today I'm grateful
for this being that I bring along, which is full of imperfections. So it gives me a subject to reflect on.
Today, I am grateful for Earth, for being alive and knowing I'm part of this beautiful planet.
Today, I'm grateful because I can look out my window and see the ocean, which is constantly moving and therefore telling me about impermanence all the time. At the same time, I'm also grateful for this tiny little flower and leaf here, which is actually a strawberry, which produced one strawberry for me yesterday. So I'm grateful for that.
Today I'm grateful for nature, because nature nurtures us all. And I'm grateful there is no rain today, so we did have the market. Thank you.
Today I'm grateful for the shade that I can obtain from the beautiful trees outside the Institute.
And I'm really grateful for the sunshine today. The sunshine is my being. I am so ecstatic to see the sun after so many days of not seeing it.
Today I'm grateful for the earth, for just giving us something to stand on.
Today I'm grateful for the very fact that we can connect to the earth and feel grounded, especially in difficult times.
Today and every day, I'm grateful for having a human life, grateful for being part of humanity. And this is the only opportunity to seek liberation. And I'm also grateful for the universal healing ability and the love from the divine that sustain us and allow us to, I guess, to share the precious resources in the world. So for that, every single day, I'm grateful for. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, everyone. So I find that a very beautiful, like we've just created such a circle of gratitude with that simple sentence. And I'd like us to that's our foundation from which we're going to grow. So what I'm going to invite us now to do is I'm going to just play a little bit of background music through my computer, and I'm going to invite us to stand up if you can, and I'm just going to guide a few minutes of tuning into our bodies, basically, sensing into our physical form and how our physical form is right now. So during this, you're welcome, of course, if you feel more comfortable, to turn your camera off. The other option, which I might encourage, in fact, is you can leave your camera on but hide your self view. Okay, so if you'd like to stand up, great. And you might want to just notice your feet, how your feet are on the floor. And you could just move your feet a little bit and notice your soles of your feet, how they're contacting the floor. You might want to just take a little, if you have room, just take a little walk even. It doesn't matter if you go off the Zoom camera, you'll still be able to hear me. And just notice how gravity is enabling your feet to touch the floor and how your feet are feeling right now. You might want to roll your feet around on the floor to make them feel comfy, whatever your feet need right now. And just notice your breathing as we're standing here. Just taking a few breaths and allowing your body to do whatever it needs to do, as rolling your arms or your shoulders. A little bit of a shake. You might notice your shoulders and your arms are feeling like they want to do, how they are right now. And I invite you to just move your arms around a little bit, loosen them up, and just play with how your arms might want to move right now. And what happens if your shoulder might lead the movement? Or if your elbow might lead the movement. With your fingertips. You might want to just give your hands a bit of a whip or a shake. Noticing the torso, your back and your front bodies, how are they feeling? I feel like mine need a massage, so I'm just going to do that a little bit. Is there a movement or a stretch that feels good for your torso? To travel around your space a little bit, see what happens if your belly button leads. How does that change your body and how you're feeling? And what happens if your tailbone leads? You walk backwards? Is it different? have a tail. How does your weight change when you imagine you have a tail coming out of your tailbone? And how are your hips feeling right now? You accentuate the movement in your hips, or you lead with your hips. How are they feeling? Think about your legs, your upper legs and your lower legs. Is there a way you can move them to really feel into how they are right now? Perhaps we can invite a bit of silliness in, and I want us to lead the movement with our knees and see what kind of silly movement or stretch or walk we might be able to do if we let our knees guide us. What are all the different ways that our knees might help us move? Slightly ridiculous. Almost like looking into my whole body and just feeling how my body as a whole wants to move, wants to stretch. Noticing I forgot to match the cue. Maybe you want to give your head a bit of attention or just taking a moment to close your eyes and just really listen to how you are right now. And I invite your body to just be however you need to be right now. Could be a flop on the floor or a stretch, but just give your body the permission to express how you are feeling. And just allowing one word of how you are right now to come out. We won't share it, but just speak it out loud. Just one word of how you are right now. And now I invite you to find your being or your imaginary being and pick it up. And we're going to spend some time just really exploring it. So we can look at, just maybe follow your senses. What does it look like? And spend some time noticing the light through this being, the shape, feel of it? Does it have different textures in different places, or does it feel different with your hands or with your face or with your feet? Does the being smell? Or taste? What does the smell or taste remind you of? What is it that drew you to this particular being of all beings? How does this being move? How does it move if you move this being? Or how can you move this being? What shapes or movements feel particularly beautiful to you? And what movement does this being make if you were to make, if it was in its natural habitat, say, or if it had fallen off a tree, or if there was just some gentle wind moving past? Just notice what happens. Does anything change? You might actually like to pretend to be the wind and brush past it and see what changes. What happens if you're water? You could pretend to be the water running down it, through it. What sound does this being make? Does it have a sound when you move it? Maybe you can make the sound that this being makes. Does it have an inherent sound? What sound might you imagine it would make? And I invite you to make that imagined sound. You're on mute, so no one will hear you. And I invite you to have a little bit of a dance with this being. And really notice, as you're dancing with this being, how it moves through the air, how it shapes, how it sounds. And now I'm going to invite you to move like this being. So your body is this being moving. You can make the sounds of this being as you're moving. And imagine how you'd move if the wind rustles through you. What sound do you make then? And how do you move if the sun is shining on you? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop us into a breakout room with one other person. And I invite you to, in fact, not speak, but merely, or you could say your name if you want, but really in very little words, and just share the movement of you and your being. And it'll be like 1 or 2 minutes max. And just share the movement of your being. The person will witness, and they might even, and then you might start to have a dance with the two of your beings together. How does your being interact with another being? What happens? Are you influenced with each other? So yeah, I really encourage you to keep the words to a minimum, but keep that beautiful energy. You're just sharing with another being. Welcome back, everyone. Apologies, that was a little short. I got carried away with the beginning section. I was just enjoying moving, and I would have maybe liked to have spent a bit more time on that. But I trust it was an interesting or intriguing glimpse into a potential anyway. And I'm just thinking, in the interest of time, perhaps what we will do is we'll keep all of that juicy goodness that we've been moving and reflecting and sharing with, and we'll in fact pass over to Kieran now, if you would like that, Kieran, and then we might have a chance for a greater debrief all together at the end of the session. I think that's probably best time-wise.
Great.
Thank you, Moran. I'm still in being my shell. I'm still being my shell. Tom, how long do I have, roughly, please?
Oh, 20 minutes.
Okay, all right. So thank you, Moran. Try to stay in your movement conversations and with your being, because we're going to move very seamlessly from those. I believe we're going to get some beautiful music soon from Moran on the harp, which is such a treat, and we will be very grateful in advance for that, Moran. But I'm going to, invite you to stay with the movement and the realizations and the conversation you've had with your being, and also with the two people in your breakout room. Stay with that. Stay in that heart space. Stay in that being space. Stay in your bodies. All right. I'm going to invite you to stay in your bodies and write a poem from your body. So your mind might be freaking out, saying, "Oh, I can't write poetry. I'm no good. My teacher said I wasn't good. My grandpa said I wasn't." No, that's your mind. Stay in your body. Your body can write, because poetry comes from the heart, and your heart is your body. You know, you might want to just put your hand on your heart for a minute and feel it. Check in with it. Thank your heart for beating, for beating and doing what it does best, so that you can enjoy this day and this conversation, this community of practice for the next half an hour. And I think, thank you to the person who put it into the chat, the page that you may want to use as a bit of a prompt or this next, but please stay in your bodies, please stay in fun mode. This is not oh, I have to write something good, or I have to share it and it won't sound good. Please, that's your judgment head, that's your head space, that's your judgment. Please surrender, suspend that for a little longer. Stay in that body, stay with that being. Now you might be inspired enough just with the conversation with your being And that might be enough for you to go into some poetry. And if so, please pick up a pen and paper and please start to write. Just one way, if you're feeling a little anxious or you don't do this a lot, just put the pen on the paper and don't take it off, and just see what happens with your hand, which comes from a bloodline directly from your heart. There is a vein that comes right down your arm and to your fingers and hand, coming from your heart. Feel that connection in the pen, feel that connection on the paper, and then let your body and hands move the paper. You might just want to write from a conversation from your being. If you need a little bit more of a prompt, I've got a page there for you from Glenn's book, The Symbiocene, Glenn Albrecht, who did last 2030, last month. And there's some blanked out words for you. You'll notice the page in the chat has some blanked out words in it. Sheeny, is it? Thank you for putting that up in the chat. Thank you very much. If you want to, you can take your inspiration from that page with some blanked out words. There'll be some lovely juicy words about a symbiocene way of being and a symbiotic relationship with your being that you've just had in beautiful conversation with Moran's guidance, and lovely playful ones. Stay in that playful mode and please just play with some words on a paper. So you might want to just cross out some more, or you might want to say, that word's grabbing me. Write that word, copy that word down from that page of Glenn's thing. Whatever happens here, there is no right, there is no wrong. There's just what now happens in the next, say, 5 or so minutes. I'm going to leave you, or maybe 6 minutes, and we're going to have some beautiful music. We might even take 7 if everyone's in the zone. And just see what happens. Play with the pen, the paper, play with the words. Try to not analyze or judge. That's your head stuff. Stay in the heart. What is grabbing your heart? What is grabbing your eyes and saying, pick me, pick me? Go with that word. Go with the next word that jumps to you. Do they go together? Put them together. See how they go. This is a symbiotic relationship with the being, with the pen, with the paper. And remember, Thich Nhat Hanh said that the paper and you and the pen, you're all into being. He used poetry, he used a paper and a pen as an example to explain his beautiful term, into being. So try and notice that relationship. And Moran, thank you. Here's the heart. Bring that on, please, Moran. Try and notice your beautiful into being with the pen, with the words, with the being, and with your playful heart. And just see what happens in the next 5 or so minutes with some into being with the words and the paper and Moran's beautiful heart music. We'll take about another minute. Keep going. So beautiful. Thank you, Moran. Okay. Now maybe we're still finishing up the last few words or inspirations. Some of you might not want to stop. I don't know. It's hard to tell where you are with this. But is there anyone that would really like to share? Just in that heart space, not in the head space of judging it. This is no good. They're going to think it's no good. Straight from your heart, from your hand, from your pen. Anyone like to just let us know how you went?
Here we go. I had the dry leaf. Crackle, crunch, cackle. Dry leaf, life and laugh. Drifting, fluttering, floating through the air. Giggle, crackle, laugh. No longing for greener days. Life is a breeze, blow me here, blow me there. My loving symbiont heart shines bright. Glowing, flowing rapture is my way.
Wow. Wow, this is a really good debrief for both of us, Moran, isn't it? Wow. Thanks, Tom. Anyone else? Anyone else sitting on some solid gold out there? Some real beauty.
My dancing and connection with my being gives me grace, stillness and light. Infinity is my name and oneness is my song. I am part of the cosmos. I am part of the divine. I am belonging to infinite joy, wisdom, peace and love. I am a dance of shimmering, vibrant energy. I am filled with gratitude and awe that I am one with this almighty universe.
Wow. Thank you, Margaret. We hear you.
My heart hurts, pain surrounds, so too does care. My need, our world where our hearts come together to share.
Thank you, Stephen. And is there one or two more that would really like to be witnessed? Thank you.
Playfully dancing to and fro, seeping slightly closer to the fringe, subtle twist of form, moving so to spark up and drink from the air once again.
I'd like to share. Imperfections. You showed signs. You suffered. I intended to care. Nature comes, rescue you. I see signs of growth. May you continue growing, healing.
Thank you, Sheenie. Thank you. Beautiful. And we probably have time for one more. It'd be lovely to just round this off beautifully if there is one more there.
My being is very much like me, looking dry and tired, like this one. Every element is in nature, grateful for Earth's nurture. We grow to heart's content, and now it's all coming to an end. It's solemn, isn't it?
Reverend, would you give us that last line again, please?
Oh, and now it's all coming to an end.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it is. Our poetry time together is too. But a little bird told me that the Reverend wasn't much good at poetry.
Little bird wasn't quite right.
No, I agree with you, Tom. I agree with you. Little bird.
I'm not very good at poetry.
The little bird can maybe update that information, because the little bird tells me that poem is very beautiful and very expressive. Lots of beautiful connection with your beings there.
Thank you.
Which, Mariah, you're delighted to see how you've activated that and brought that out in people. Thank you, everyone. That's me, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So here we are, another beautiful workshop session with Nantian 2030 campaign, and I'm going to hand over to Reverend Miao Yo to give us a bit of closing for today. So thank you very much to everybody.
Yeah, thank you everyone for sharing today's workshop, and I really enjoyed it very much before the movement, and having everybody participate it's great, because we feel really connected with one another, and that is so important in today's world. Many people are isolated, but at least we have this workshop going, and feel free to come at least once a month and share your thoughts, your ideas, or your poetry with us. So thank you. So we shall return merits to all sentient beings. May kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May chant, pure land, and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our humility and gratitude give rise to great vows. Thank you very much. We shall see each other again next month.